And we're live. What's good, Internet? Your boys are back. Another episode of Morningwood. Man, let's get it. Let's just get it started. Go right into it.
Carole Baskins going to be on Dancing with the Stars?
Yeah. That's where's our graphics department?
Fucking cool cats and kittens.
God, didn't know that. Is that a real thing?
Oh, that's a real thing.
All right. We'll circle around back.
Hey, I'll tie it in. I get the tie in.
Okay.
Hey, everybody's gonna fucking hate. Everybody hates Carole Baskin, which is perfect. So that means Rudy Gobert can possibly be on the Dancing with the Stars one day.
Everybody hates Rudy Gobert, man. Everybody. Just the look on his teammates' faces as Rudy Gobert is trying to give them any kind of pointers walking back to a huddle. It's priceless to watch. They hate this dude. I don't know what it is outside of his COVID thing that shut everything down and pissed off Donovan Mitchell, gave it to Donovan Mitchell. I don't know what it is beyond that.
It's the French.
But they cannot stand him. I am so interested to see what the Utah Jazz do with Rudy Hibbert during this offseason.
Dude, I have no idea. The answer is nothing. What do they do? They can't do anything.
If they gotta take a deal that's less than ideal, like I get that'll suck, but also they cannot afford to piss off Donovan Mitchell.
No, we got to dig deep one day and go through team and try to figure out exactly what the best option is.
Yeah,
because off the top of the dome, I got nothing for you because I don't know how you get rid of that contract without attaching assets.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, the only trade partner to me that feels like you can get something is the Sixers, but the Sixers don't need them, so you have to three-way it, and that brings in the complications. So,
right.
Whatever. But anyway, this was a playoff basketball game, and I feel sorry for everybody who was banging that 215 over because everybody was banging that over.
Yeah, no, who had that down? That it was going to be an 80-78 game, and it turns out, we're waiting for Jamal Murray to fall off. Who saw both of them falling off?
They look exhausted.
Yeah.
They looked exhausted.
It makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, of course. I mean, those two dudes played their hearts out. So it's game 7. Obviously, there's no travel. They get to rest up, blah, 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 blah. But it's game 7. They've been going back and forth, throwing haymakers at each other. Overtime games, the whole shebang. So, but it was just so exciting. And that's what you get over a 7-game series. Games can't all look the same.
No, and it's credit to the defense too. Both teams really buckled down to be tight on both these guys to really try to make other guys score. At the end of the day, Nuggets just have more depth. I mean, Jokic played incredible. It's the depth that they have that the Jazz don't.
Yeah, I mean, there's the two things. There's one, if Jamal Murray doesn't have it going, Jokic is the Nuggets guy. Like, if you were like, hey, you have to trade one of these two players, Jamal Murray or Nikola Jokic. The Nuggets are trading Jamal Murray.
Yeah,
sure. The Jazz don't have a Nikola Jokic when Donovan Mitchell doesn't have it going. Second, getting Gary Harris back was huge.
Yeah, his defense was fucking great.
He struggled offensively. He sucks. He can't hit a shot. I don't know what happened to him as a shot maker over the last couple of years. He can't hit shots, but he made 2 of the biggest plays of the game.
Yeah.
With a few minutes left, one, he basically forced a shot clock violation with his defense on Donovan Mitchell with 2.5 left. And then on the final possession, he gets the poke away right before the Nuggets messed up a 3-on-1. But that was huge. Having him back the final 2 games was a difference maker.
Jazz got problems with Conley and Gobert. It just hasn't worked. I don't know what's wrong with Conley. It has not looked comfortable or fluid at all this year.
No, I think they'll shop him.
Yeah.
He only has 1 year, so it's not like it's some hampering thing weighing down on them. Rudy can't go one-on-one.
No.
Old Utah. No, he can't. And that's where Nikola Jokic, as awkward and weird as it looks sometimes, Jokic can. He can go get you a bucket when you need it. Yeah, Conley doesn't look like he's not going to kill Utah from the perspective of they can't get rid of him, because I would take him on the Chicago Bulls as my point guard for a year any second. I feel like
I would love him on the Knicks.
You would love him on the Knicks. Like, he's a guy that they can move. If I was a team that had some cap space, knew that I wasn't going to be able to get anything, wanted to kind of push a little bit. Mike Conley's the kind of guy that I would try to get and take into room.
I just feel like for him to be successful, it shows that he needs to be the show. He needs to be the dominant ball handler at all times. Donovan Mitchell is just too ball dominant for them to play together.
The other thing is that Utah doesn't really have like pick and roll pieces.
No, true. They don't.
Like he's used to playing with a guy like Zach Randolph who could pop. He's used to playing with Marc Gasol who could do a little bit of both. He's used to getting bigs the ball in there.
Sure.
You're not giving Gobert the ball.
No, but are we going to talk about the Denver's absolutely atrocious, last possession? What the hell are they doing there? That's how you lose games. That looked like high school. You got to dribble that out. Why are you driving? Why are you driving to the rim?
The 3-on-1?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you have to finish that. You're not a middle schooler.
Yeah, I mean, you're passing to Torrey Craig for a last-second shot. Like, what are you doing? Like, just dribble it out.
Dribble it out, get fouled.
Like, this is high school. That's high school stuff.
Yeah, I get it. That's your natural instinct as a basketball player, but time and clock. You got to know that stuff. But if they would have lost off a missed layup, because that Conley shot was in and out.
No, it was that shot. To me, the bigger, you got to finish that layup. But again, are you really relying on Torrey Craig in Game 7 last second to hit that shot?
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. And it's your own fault for doing that. The Utah should have never seen the ball again unless it was after free throws. That's the only way they should have ever seen that ball again.
Yeah, the fact that they did, it was a dummy move.
It's just dumb.
It
really is. It's high school stuff. This is high school. That's not even college. That's high school.
The fact that they even had a shot to win the game off of that was absurd. And obviously that's something you go over in film probably tomorrow, like today, like maybe tonight even. You got to give it a little bit of room to breathe, let your guys enjoy the win, hard-fought series. You really can't harp on it too much. They play again on tomorrow. So yeah, whatever they go over today, that's, they'll talk. I'm sure they'll briefly talk about it, touch on it, move on. But yeah, you hope you don't see a repeat of that.
No.
But just hats off to both teams.
Yeah, great series. Really fun series. Good job, both teams. I mean, I didn't think the Jazz would have a real chance in this series, and beyond having a chance, they probably should have won. They
probably should have. And, they were missing their second best player, Bogdanovich, the whole time.
Yeah.
He didn't come to the bubble. Would have been interesting to see him in there. And, let's get my guy Donovan Mitchell a wing to put next to him, who could defend the perimeter a little bit and, be a little bit more of a complete player than Bogdanovich. Bogdanovich, great fit next to him. Love it and everything. But I feel like they need that level up from Bogdanovich. And I'm interested to see how they finagle that, because that is they can't go into the year the same way they did this year.
They can't. I don't know what they need to do. We got to really dig deep one day and just deep dive it, see what we can do.
Yeah. Other game, Celtics took 2-0.
Celtics up 2-0. It's no longer a game one overreaction now. Now it's real.
Yeah. One, I think Jaylen Brown, now that Dame's out of the playoffs, I think Jaylen Brown's my favorite player left in the bubble. I love Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown came into this league as like a kind of raw athletic prospect, and he has turned himself into such a crazy skilled player who looks fluid with all of his motions, whereas I see so often in players, it looks like they're going through the steps that they worked on with their trainer.
Yeah, sure.
Jaylen Brown has now been able to make it look fluid, and like he's able to read the game as it comes to him, instead of him seeing something and trying a move like a lot of players do. So shout out to Jaylen Brown, because I absolutely love watching him. I love watching the entire Celtics team, which kind of sucks because I feel like I want to hate them because they're
I was just about to cover that. God, do I hate the fucking Celtics. I hate them. But this team's fun. I like every guy on there. What guy, looking at the Celtics roster, what guy you're like, you know what? Fuck that dude. I like them all.
They're all heart guys.
If Marcus Smart was on any other team besides like maybe two others, I would own a Marcus Smart jersey.
Smart playing out of his mind right now. I mean,
dude, it's nuts. Like, he is so damn annoying, and it's perfect. Like, the scoring's great, and those points are just that's the cherry on top. But what he's doing on both sides of the floor is so damn annoying that it's just, you need that guy. He's all heart. You gotta love it. I'm jealous.
It sucks that Marcus Smart isn't going to win a Defensive Player of the Year award because only bigs get Defensive Player of the Years.
His defensive rebounds are more important than stopping the primary ball handler.
Like, Marcus Smart, if he doesn't win a Defensive Player of the Year award over his career, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm already rolling over in my grave.
Yeah.
What he does on the defensive end to frustrate whoever, he can guard up positions. Like, he's basically like supercharged Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley is like a tenacious defender. He's a good defender, smart, all that. He gets after it. But at the end of the day, he's a sleight of frame small guard. Marcus Smart is a big guard.
He's a big dude. He
can get after it. And I'm telling you what, Giannis, when he was asked why he didn't guard Jimmy, I get it. He's a big man. He's a Defensive Player of the Year. His whole thing is his versatility and his ability to be positionless. I guarantee you Marcus Smart is going, get out of the way.
Oh, Marcus Smart wants to smoke. He always does. And I love that about Marcus Smart. He's great. And, we're talking a lot of Celtics. It's hard to – I feel like we're just penciling in how great Jayson Tatum is without saying it. Jayson Tatum, dude, that guy's fucking good, man. It sucks that Celtics knocked this one out of the park.
He's really good. And here's the thing. So Tatum is playing like a superstar. I don't know if I could crown him a superstar yet, because while he started playing at that superstar-esque level, I would say he's playing more like a first-team All-NBA player.
He's carrying himself as one.
Right. Whereas the Raptors are just trying to get all-star play from their three guys.
Yeah.
And Jayson Tatum, they're getting first-team All-NBA production. Tatum's next leap is going to be when he has the ball in his hands and he can not just get buckets, but now he can create for his teammates too. And I'm sure that'll come.
Yeah.
Because you've seen the flashes, but he is doing what he wants when he wants against his Raptors.
They have nobody to stop him. They have nobody to come close to stopping him. So when I was watching the Raptors yesterday, to me, it looked like they really tried to increase the pace they're playing. They tried to make this a full sprint. More transition baskets and everything like that, which really was leading to more transition threes, because what it seemed like they were really trying to do is that the Celtics, they know the Celtics are too damn long. This half-court offense, try to put up good shots, it's super hard for them to do with Lowry and Van Vliet. So they were really increasing the pace to get more transition shots. But these transition shots, they're open, but it's not good shots. It's not the best shots you can. I mean, it's not like it's you're rushing. You're taking rushed shots to try to beat them before the defense adjusts or comes back. And I think that's, I don't know how they can play it any different, because, they probably did the right coaching moves to do what they got to do to get the best looks they possibly can, because that transition look is better than their half-court look. Because, again, it comes down to the Celtics, their wings and their defenders are too damn long for Van Vliet and Lowry.
Yeah, and hey, it was a 3-point game. So with that said, they easily could have won the game, and we'd be saying, hey, Tatum's got to go for 30 plus, and they still.
Yeah, but I think the Raptors, it looks hard. It looks way harder for the Raptors. It's it looks way more difficult for what they got to do.
It's a struggle, and you saw they didn't shoot any free throws in the first half? Was that what it was? Was it they shot 4? They struggle to get offense because their guys can't get to the free throw line. Lowry's the only guy who got to the free throw line. He was 6 of 8. Van Vliet, 0 free throws. Siakam, 4 free throws. If your top 3 scorers need more than 12 free throw attempts.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it comes down to they shot 11 for 40 from the 3-point line, because they're trying to force these transition threes because it's the only open looks that Lowry and Van Vliet are getting.
Right, and that's where, when you're forcing the threes, it starts taking away from the rest of your game. When you're shooting that many threes, you're not going to go to the free throw line. If
you're
to the free throw line, you might not get it going. That's a way to get it going.
Sure, you're still 5'10", though. It's hard to get into the paint unless you're Allen Iverson to try to get fouled if you're Van Vliet.
Well, Van Vliet's thing is a lot of times he's very crafty around the rim, and I give him credit. He figures out ways to finish over and through guys that are bigger than him.
Sure.
The problem is he's trying to finish. He's not really trying to draw contact. He's trying to avoid.
I agree. I think the Celtics are a weird team for that, though, because, Lowry's, Van Vliet's usually used to playing everybody that's bigger than him, but it's the help defense on the Celtics. It's literally, they're an arm length away, literally. It's just, and that help defense on everyone is just, it's huge, and I think it's a rough matchup for Toronto.
It's hard to pick on Kemba Walker when Kemba knows what he's doing defensively. He rotates, smart player, given his age and physical limitations, but they just have everybody else who can recover for him.
Sure.
That's when you draft these. The Celtics moves were, let's draft these athletic dudes who play defense and we'll develop their offense.
Yeah.
And then, with Tatum, kind of the opposite. They're like, hey, let's draft this dude who can get buckets and we'll figure the defense out. And their staff has developed each player that they need in the exact way that they need to develop them. And it's awesome to watch. I mean, I don't want to think too far ahead, but and again, you're really predicting forward if we start talking about Miami and Milwaukee. But Miami's the team that has those long wings that maybe can slow Boston down. But that's getting ahead of ourselves.
For sure.
The last thing I want to add with the Celtics is, one, I loved seeing Kemba hit a shot in the clutch. Classic Kemba.
Yeah.
And two, we talked about it yesterday with Chris Paul and the air punch. Just let the air punch go. It's not that big a deal.
Over it.
We don't need technical fouls at the end of the game because somebody was showing emotion. We don't need it. So we don't need to get into it further than that, but figured we'd say it. So today, unless you have anything else to add for
all I got for you.
Yeah. So tonight, we got Heat Bucks 6:30, and then Thunder Rockets, a late one, 9:00.
I looked at the schedule. Actually, this is basically it for us, boys. The rest of the way, we're going to be 9:00 or later for these games.
What's up, man? Shout out everybody watching. Make sure, if you could, hit the like button, retweet, all that. Share it out. We got you. Hit us up in the chat. Heat Bucks. I'm just so interested in this game, in this series. Jimmy is going to struggle to drop 40 again.
Sure.
But I mentioned it yesterday, I think Miami's got shooters that didn't get hot, and there's a very legitimate possibility that those guys get hot, and Jimmy doesn't need to put up 40. Miami doesn't need it.
To me, it's the front court. You got to be able to rebound. You got to be able to box out. I'm interested to see what the Bucks do, if they're able to adjust or they're going to rely on just Giannis being their sole rebounder.
Yeah, and I want to see if they do move Giannis around defensively.
Because Brook Lopez, I don't think he's not putting up 27 or whatever it was again.
No. Is he capable of it? Yeah, it wouldn't. Yeah. If he did it, I wouldn't be like, oh, that doesn't make sense. But
when you shoot 100% from the 3-point line, you're always able to put up 27 points.
At least against the Knicks.
No Evan Fournier.
Oh God. I don't want to. Actually, I'm not going to touch Evan Fournier's hair. I'm not going to touch it. Interesting free agent situation with Evan Fournier. Interested to see how much money he makes, because
if he's not on a good team, it depends on what he wants to do. If he wants to win, he needs to take a cut to go on a good team.
Right.
If he wants to lose, there's plenty of teams that might give him some cash to be a lottery team.
Yeah, he could help. He could help a good team, though.
Oh, he could definitely help a good team. He would be great next to LeBron. It's not going to happen. Salary cap, blah blah blah. But he'd be great in a situation like that. However, it all depends on what he wants to do to find that spot to do it. In regards to, or he wants to re-sign with Orlando and fight for the lottery or the 8 seed again. Some version of. There's like 15 examples of that.
8 seed, here we come. Yeah, I'm interested to see if Milwaukee does move Giannis around defensively and not just have him play big, have him move around, frustrate smaller players. I mean, it doesn't have to be a full game.
I'm curious to see, what they do they got to make some adjustments, because they've been playing literally their regular season basketball in the playoffs.
Because look, we saw it with LeBron guarding guards. We saw it with LeBron on Derrick Rose. They're guys you're not going to shut down, but you're getting the ball out of their hands. So I want to see if Giannis just situationally is like, hey, you know what? I'm the defensive player of the year. Move me around. and let's do it. It's a switch heavy league anyway. You're already moving around so much. You might as well start on that option if you can. So that's what I'm looking for tonight. I want to just strategically what Bud does to make an adjustment. People, I think, are really getting on Coach Bud for his playoff resume. I guess I start to see it. I see the points a little bit, but it's still too early for me to say that Coach Bud has some kind of playoff struggle. When he was with Atlanta, it's not like I really thought Atlanta was ever a championship contender. I don't think he didn't maximize what Atlanta was.
I think the issue is it's kind of the same issue. I think he's a great regular season coach, but when it comes to making adjustments in the playoffs, that Atlanta, he plays it's one of two things. It's either he's taking his team and bringing it to the absolute max it could possibly go during the regular season. Therefore, when he gets to the playoffs, there is no ceiling. This is it. Yeah. You're already at it. Or he just can't make adjustments to certain scenarios. Because same idea with that Atlanta team. Granted, you're playing LeBron in the Heat, and it's just come on.
Bulls.
And LeBron in the Heat. And I think it's really hard for what adjustments you're really making with that team. It's a rough team.
You can make adjustments, but they
were losing star power. Right. They didn't have the star power. Now that excuse isn't there. Giannis is the star. They got plenty of adjustments. They have different options to do on this team. And if Eric Gordon's a thing.
Eric Gordon's not on that team, but
I'm sorry. Eric Bledsoe. I apologize.
Yeah. Let's see where Eric Bledsoe's at. Questionable.
If they trade for Eric Gordon, though.
Questionable for game 2. They do need him. He has obviously underwhelmed in the playoffs, but he's a big part of their team. And all of these Twitter analysts who love Eric Bledsoe, he's so underappreciated. The average fan doesn't get what he does on a nightly basis. Great. Do it in the playoffs.
That's it. I mean, it sounds like every Horford defender says the same stuff.
Yeah. Bring it in the playoffs. You are Eric Bledsoe is more athletic and stronger than most of the guards he goes up against. So,
I mean, Scary Terry destroyed Bledsoe and has never, to me, he has not recovered since then in regards to showing that he can be more than what he is already.
Yeah. So Eric Bledsoe, if you're playing, we need to see it. This is nothing new. That's not some groundbreaking analytical take. He just needs to bring it. How much do you think Jeremy Grant demands in free agency?
Jaren Grant, I think he'd probably sign with the Bulls.
Grant, if Jaren Grant ever played on the Bulls again,
Notre Dame
saw my arms off. Jeremy Grant, his brother. I mean, I guess it's hard to say when we don't know what the salary cap structure is going to be. I would say somewhere right around or slightly above the mid-level.
Sure.
I don't know if he thinks he's getting more than that, and that's why he, opted out. He just wants long-term security. Look, he has turned himself into a capable three-point shooter, and he's a versatile defender who can guard multiple positions. You saw him take some possessions on Donovan Mitchell. He can guard, his position all the way up to 5. He can guard it, very valuable. It's what team is going to pay him more than the mid-level for that, where he's actually going to make a difference, because he kind of needs to play on a good team.
It's not going to be. The problem with that question is we have no idea what the salary cap is going to be. It's about 105 and change right now, I believe, off the top of my head without looking at it. If this salary cap goes down to 80 or 85 or 90 or 95, that's a humongous jump. So that means these teams who are good, they're probably capped out, because they're usually commonly, the Knicks are a void to this thing, but teams that are capped out are usually capped out. They just, usually a good team is usually capped out. That's what it usually entails. So they can't just go sign, Jeremy Grant for more money. They can get Jerry and Grant, but they can't go sign Jeremy Grant for more money. There's just no space. So I don't know who that team is, especially without knowing what the hell the salary cap's going to do.
Yeah, I would say it's going to be the mid-level. The mid-level,
that would make sense.
I don't know how much the mid-level will be based on if they have to rework the CBA, which is a possibility, So I don't know how much that's going to be, but I would wager to say it's going to be around the mid-level. And I don't think a non-contending team is going to want to pay him more, or it'll make sense to pay him more. And I don't think a contending team can pay him more. So I would say somewhere around the mid-level. Whatever that number ends up being, it ends up being. Thunder
Dallas, if you will.
Yeah, Dallas sounds like a good option. But I think Dallas goes in different directions anyway. I think Dallas is going big game hunting this offseason.
Try.
And when I say big game hunting, I mean like Buddy Hield.
Not deer. Oh, got it. I thought that was they're going after the Bucks reference.
Giannis. They're going after Giannis. No,
I thought that was. Do you have sources?
I do have. I got some draft sources. I don't know how that helps me with my NBA talk.
They're going to draft Giannis.
You're welcome. And you're welcome, Adele. Game 7 tonight.
Yeah, God damn it. I've been riding the Rockets from the beginning. James Harden needs the ball out. There's nothing more than that. I mean, James Harden, he has two. Is he going to, if he loses this series, is he not the weirdest fucking superstar of all time?
I mean, he's up there. He's, the weird, here's the hard part for me with James Harden. Because I was about to make like a comparison to Tracy McGrady, and then I stopped myself because I get it. Tracy McGrady didn't make it out of the first round as like the superstar on his team, which I don't necessarily hold him fully responsible for. Some of those Orlando teams were absolutely atrocious. There were times where Orlando Sean Kemp were his second best player. Like whatever, it is what it is, circumstantial. But like as much as James Harden has quote unquote choked, like the Rockets, and Chris Paul was a part of it, but nobody does things alone. And Chris Paul needed James Harden to get there just as much as Harden needed Chris Paul. Like they made the Western Conference Finals and they took Golden State to 7. They probably played that Golden State Durant team better than anyone.
No, for sure. And they probably should have won and they didn't. And that, that's okay. I don't really hold that series against them. Granted, they missed like 247 threes in the last game, but I don't really hold that against them. But there's just too many dinks of Harden being checked out in a certain game, in a big game, and everything like that. And the excuse of the wear and tear that Harden uses in the regular season, that doesn't apply right now. We had a ton of time off. They're not traveling. Any of this James Harden's tired bullshit or anything like that doesn't exist right now. And again, I've been all in on the Rockets from the beginning. So that being said, it's time. There's no more excuses. He has to go ball out. There's just nothing else. He loses to this undermatched Thunder team. Come on.
The excuse is going to be Russell Westbrook.
Sure, but
the excuse is going to get pushed to it was Russ's fault the whole time. That's why KD couldn't win. That's why Paul George couldn't win. It's been Russ's fault. That's why Harden can't win. That's what the excuse is going to be. That's the narrative that they are going to create.
Sure. What has Russ played, though? 2 games? It's been 3? So it's seen time. It's not like Russ was there the whole series. Were those possessions at the end of the last game atrocious? Yeah, they were horrible. But unfortunately, that doesn't mean like it's up to James Harden. James Harden, if you're the God damn it. Unfortunately,
I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but
who knows? He might be right.
It's a true statement.
Is Jeff Green the most annoying superstar of all time? I don't get it, man. Like James Harden, you have to go ball out. If Chris Paul has the same dinks on his resume, but you could never say Chris Paul didn't want the ball, gave up, or some version of that. You can never say that about Chris Paul. Chris Paul always goes and gives his hardest. Unfortunately, a lot of times it's not worked out in his favor. Injuries, bad luck, whatever the case may be.
And he's a small guard.
He's a small guard. I mean, again, that's a different statistic in that regard. But James Harden, there's no more excuses. There's no more. You have to go ball out. And if you don't ball out, things are about to get real weird in Houston. Daryl Morey for sure is gone. I'm not sure what they're going to do. You already know D'Antoni's gone. I don't know what the hell this team does. It's going to be a weird team going forward.
Because all right. So, what coach do you get to coach James Harden?
Everybody seems to love Ty Lue.
Ty Lue is up for every. How is he going to coach
every job
team?
There's a few NFL teams I heard he's trying out for too.
And so here's my other thing. What do you do with the roster? Because I'm sure a new GM would probably not do just the straight up small ball Morey ball.
Double down and go get Jeremy Grant.
Like Jeremy Grant would actually be a great fit on this Rockets team.
It would be. I don't think they'll have a mid-level exception though. I think they're capped out.
A new GM would try to, I think, make a more traditional roster.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, what pieces are you really capable of moving? Because you're not moving Russ. And you don't want to trade Harden, I'm guessing. So how are you?
You can't trade Harden.
So how are you fixing this roster outside of moving like PJ Tucker? Like
Eric Gordon.
Like maybe you move Eric Gordon for a piece that fits more. But at the end of the day,
what are you getting though?
You want Clint Capella, I guess. Like I don't know. Like what?
It's
a tough job to do.
Well, you need to go get a center who's like is cheap as well. It's got to be something like JaVale McGee or some version of that. Like is what you're kind of walking yourself into as the normalizing this team, unless they get really fucking weird and they just trade Russ for Gobert.
Ooh. Doesn't sound like a Utah move, but
didn't Russ have Utah problems? That was right.
The fan got like surprise, Utah fan was racist.
Okay, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, I don't think Russ wants to go to Utah. I don't think Russ's fashion line working out of Utah is going to work.
No.
It's just a weird situation. But look, it's Game 7. I still think Houston's going to win because I just think they have more pieces to get it done tonight. And we're going to see. I mean, I love what this OKC team's done. I love Chris Paul competitiveness. I love SGA. I love Gallinari. Steven Adams, I think, is good if overpaid. It's what can the other guys do outside of that for OKC? Is Lou Dort going to hit shots tonight?
Sure.
Is Terrence Ferguson going to hit shots? Is Darius Bazley going to hit shots? Those are the questions in a Game 7. And we saw with two offensive teams, the slugfest that a Game 7 can turn into. So what does a Game 7 turn into with a team that goes one-on-one every possession and a Thunder team that has a more traditional fit to their team, but, doesn't have a guy who you expect to go for 25 plus.
No.
So that's what's going to be interesting is what this game looks like aesthetically.
If Chris Paul loses, if the Thunder lose, it's going to be, wow, great job this season, Chris Paul. You nailed it.
With house money.
You're playing with house money at this point. James Harden loses, it's going to be a bad morning tomorrow.
James Harden loses. He's leading off the morning shows. Morning Wood's talking about James Harden tomorrow.
Well, we're gonna be different. We're gonna zag. We're gonna lead it off talking about Marcus Smart tomorrow.
Yeah, we should probably lead it off talking about Marcus Smart all the time. Hopefully on a different team one day.
We could probably lead it off talking about Carole Baskins 2 days in a row. See how that goes.
There we go. I'm gonna have to brush up on my Tiger King if we do that. But best bet time. What do you got?
I think I've been wrong every day. I'm not killing it right now. Just goddamn it. I think I'm going to take Thunder plus 5.5.
That's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points.
And I think I'm going to take Thunder plus 5.5 as well. I think Houston's going to win, but 5.5 points is a lot of points. And I think Milwaukee's going to win, but -5 seems like a trap for going both ways.
For sure.
So we're gonna see. I guess we'll finish it off. Let's see. We got one more question. Adele, do the Knicks still have a flex move? Not sure the exact name it is. It's what Knicks did with Noah.
They bought Noah out. What they did was they took his like $60 million he had left on his contract, and what they did was that they spread it out over 7 years or something ridiculous. So instead of that $20 million hitting the cap every year, it's like $7 or $8 million hitting the cap for 7 years instead of $20 million hitting the cap for 5 years. We did that because we needed as much cap space as we possibly could get because Durant and Kyrie are coming. So that's why the Knicks did that. So, could a team do that? Yeah, for sure. We could always do some version of that. I
Yeah.
just don't know. Unless we have superstars coming, there's really no point because basically everybody's going to be off the books by the end of next year.
Yeah, that's the only reason that you stretch a contract out. I've heard rumors of a possible amnesty for each team if they have to rework the CBA in any capacity because of the revenue losses. I've heard rumors of that. That in that case, that just means that each team can kind of waive a player that is on a bad contract. But that you can't really.
So put up at put up the Wall comment. The problem with the Wall with that is that Wall, his contract kicked in now.
Yeah,
for Noah it was $80 million for 4 years off the top of my head. So by the time we did it was 3 years with 60 years, 3 with 60 remaining. So 20 a year for 3 years. You take that and spread it over 7 years, it equals something along the lines of $8 million a year. You can't do that with John Wall because John Wall's contract is like
40-something million.
It's like 40 a year. So it is like 160, 170. You take that and you spread that out. This contract's going to be like 15 years long. Like you're better off just taking the L on that.
Like you're over 20 million a year.
That's going to hurt your cap for years and years and years.
And the thing is, like, once you stretch them, like it's not like somebody claims them and you get compensation. Like they just
get paid twice. Like Noah right now is getting paid from the Clippers and the Knicks still. Yeah.
And they like the second team, they get it whatever like they pay. So let's say John Wall gets the minimum, like that team pays him the minimum, and then the Wizards do
it would turn into the Bobby Bonilla contract, pretty much. I mean, different circumstances and a lot more money, but yeah, same idea.
Yeah. My guy Bobby's just getting $1 million every year. John Wall would get.
Don't worry. All the Mets fans will argue that this contract would made sense. They got David Wright out the deal. That worked out too.
Worked out. Beloved David Wright. LFGM. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Big games tonight. Enjoy them. Peace.